Hare Krishna. So just before Maharaj speaks, firstly we wanted to welcome all of you. Thank you for coming out on this lovely, I was going to say summer's evening, I'm not sure if it's summer yet, lovely spring evening in Newcastle. And we'd like to welcome Maharaj. So just for those of you who don't know him, just wanted to give a brief introduction. We said in the email that Maharaj has been practicing Krishna Consciousness for, well, since kind of the early 80s. Was it 82 or 83, Maharaj? Since about 1982, 1983. And he's been living as a monk for all this time. studying the Bhagavad Gita and teaching the Bhagavad Gitas to others. He now travels all around the world, especially in places like Georgia and Russia and here in the UK. He's originally from Rotherham in South Yorkshire, and he's a regular guest here in Newcastle. So we'd like to give him a very warm welcome. We'd like to ask everyone to put their hands in the air, both hands, and on the count of three we're going to chant the Hare Krishna mantra very loudly to give him a warm welcome. So 1, 2, 3. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I'll hand over to Maharaj.
Thank you very much. Is it anybody's first time? First time, okay, so we're going to read from the Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita means the Song of God. It's the dialogue which took place 5,000 years ago between Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to the Vedic scriptures, and he was speaking to his friend and disciple Arjuna, and Arjuna is the natural devotee of the Lord, but he was placed into a difficult situation and he lost his composure. Just like in the material world, we sometimes lose our composure. Is that right? So, similarly, Arjuna lost his composure, and then Lord Krishna started to speak the Bhagavad Gita. He started to answer his questions, giving guidance of how to get out of his troublesome mind. And because the mind is the thing that's driving us on in this material world. Whatever comes onto the mind, if we leave it there, we'll do it. And so the key to success in life is to control our mind and focus it on something valuable, and in this case on spiritual realization, self-realization, understanding our real nature. And so this particular verse is speaking about our real nature. What's our real nature? People have different ideas, so today we're going to go into it a little bit more. So I'll just do the invocation, and then we'll just recite the verse, and then we'll read the purport and translation, and we'll just try to elaborate. Is that okay?
Just to let you know, we have the verse on the screen behind you, Maharaj.
Oh, okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Chapter 2, text 13, and this is called this title of the chapter is Contents of the Gita Summarized. Dehinosmin yata dehe, Dehinosmin yata dehe, Omam yoganam jara, Omam yoganam jara, Tadeham tara praptir, Tadeham tara praptir, Virastapsha namuyati, Dehinosmin yata dehe, Dehinosmin yata dehe, Kumaram yoganam jara, Kumaram yoganam jara, Tadeham tara praptir, Tadeham tara praptir, Virastapsha namuyati, Virastapsha namuyati, Dehinosmin yata dehe, Dehinosmin yata dehe, Kumaram yoganam jara, Kumaram yoganam jara, Tadeham tara praptir, Tadeham tara praptir, Virastapsha namuyati, Virastapsha namuyati, Dehinosmin yata dehe, Dehinosmin yata dehe, Kumaram yoganam jara, Kumaram yoganam jara, Of the embodied, Asmin, in this, Yata, as, Dehe, in the body, Komaram, boyhood, Yovanam, youth, Jara, old age, Tata, similarly, Deha Antara, of transference of the body, Praptihi, achievement, Viraha, the sober, Tatra, thereupon, Na, never, Muyati, is deluded. Translation. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. In response, please. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Report by His Divine Grace, A.C. Dayananda Swami, Since every living entity is an individual soul, each is changing his body at every moment, manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as a youth, and sometimes as an old man. Yet the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo any change. This individual soul finally changes the body at death and transmigrates to another body, and since it is sure to have another body in the next birth, either material or spiritual, there was no cause of lamentation by Arjuna on account of death, neither for Bhishma nor Drona, for whom he was so much concerned. Rather, he should rejoice for their changing bodies from old to new ones, thereby rejuvenating their energy. Such changes of body account for varieties of enjoyment or suffering, according to one's work in life. So Bhishma and Drona, being noble souls, were surely going to have spiritual bodies in the next life, or at least life in heavenly bodies for superior enjoyment of material existence. So in either case there was no cause of lamentation. Any man with perfect knowledge of the constitution of this individual soul, the super soul, and nature, both material and spiritual, is called Dhira, or a most sober person. Such a man is never deluded by the change of bodies. The Mayavadi theory of oneness of the spirit soul cannot be entertained on the ground that the spirit soul cannot be cut into pieces as fragmental portions, Such cutting into different individual souls would make the Supreme cleavable or changeable against the principle of the Supreme Soul being unchangeable. As confirmed in the Gita, the fragmental portions of the Supreme exist eternally, Sanatan, and are called Shara. That is, they have a tendency to fall down into material nature. These fragmental portions are eternal soul, and even after liberation, the individual soul remains the same fragmental. But once liberated, he lives an eternal life in bliss and knowledge with the personality of God. The theory of reflection can be applied to the super soul, who is present in each and every individual body and is known as the Param Atma. He is different from the individual living entity. When the sky is reflected in water, the reflection represents both the sun and the moon, and the stars also. The stars can be compared to the living entities, and the sun or moon to the Supreme Lord. The individual fragmental soul is presented to Arjuna, and the Supreme Soul is the personality, is represented by Arjuna, and the Supreme Soul is the personality of God, Sri Krishna. They are not on the same level, as it will be apparent in the beginning of the 4th chapter. If Arjuna is on the same level with Krishna, and Krishna is not superior to Arjuna, then the relationship of instructor and instructor becomes meaningless. If both of them are deluded by the illusory energy Maya, then there is no need of one being the instructor and the other instructed. Such instruction would be useless because in the clutches of Maya no one can be an authoritative instructor. Under the circumstances, it is admitted that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord superior in position to the living entity. Arjuna, who is a forgotten soul, deluded by the Maya. I'll read that last sentence again. Under the circumstances, it is admitted that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord, superior in position to the living entity, Arjuna, who is a forgotten soul deluded by Maya. Om Gantiram Dasya Ganamidana Sharakaya Chakshurandritayena Sarismaya Bhagavate Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Gitakarine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Jashukarine. So this is one of the most important verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is like the ABC of understanding our real position, the ABC of spiritual and material life. Just by reading Bhagavad Gita we can understand everything actually. So people think I'm English, I'm American, I'm Chinese, I'm young, I'm old, I'm a woman, I'm a man, I'm rich, I'm poor, I'm an insect, I'm an elephant. The species of life, their soul is present. So all these are called upadhis, false designations. How long do we live? If we're lucky, 70 years. If we're unlucky, we live longer. Arthritis, so many things step in. So, it's a bad deal, this body. And yet, because we think we're this body, then we base all our happiness around trying to satisfy the body. But, is that possible? We see that, for the largest part, that who can satisfy anybody really in this world? What's the biggest attraction in this world? It's the attraction to the opposite sex, isn't it? It says that this attraction is driving everything. Everything's centered around this. But, two people come together, it's a perfect match, and then, there's a flushing of the heart, and and there's relationship, courting, then marriage, and the party's over. After about 3 or 4 months, 6 months, then you'll have to start working at it, won't you? And why? Because if we're following religious principles, we have to get married, and we have to follow the rules, and through happiness in distress, what is it? What's the vows we take now? Happiness in distress, sickness and in health, in richness and in poorness. In other words, you've signed on the dotted line now, there's no getting out of it. And there's a purpose for that. Because it's difficult. What do we want out of that relationship, or any relationship? It's, we want pleasure. Would that be yeah? Does anybody want to be miserable? Nobody does anything. Everybody wants pleasure. And so, in that relationship, it says that, I'll ask 2 questions now. One question is our desires limited or unlimited? What's that?
Unlimited.
Unlimited. Who says unlimited? Put your hands up. Who says not unlimited? Right? So, in other words, we get satiated at some point. I'm completely happy. Yeah? So if anybody's found that, then, put your hand up. And then the other thing is, so you've got 2 people come together with unlimited desires. He said, he's never satisfied. She's never satisfied, especially with the kids, isn't it? No matter what I get him, he's never satisfied. Has anybody heard that? So that's actually true. So, we've got unlimited desires. The more we get, the more we want. And is our ability to satisfy desires limited or unlimited? Limited. Does everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
So how can it work? You've got somebody, the opposite sex or the person you're trying to develop a relationship with have unlimited desires. They're expecting us to satisfy all their desires, but we can't. So that's why we follow vows, because, this is the reality of the situation. We'll never be satisfied in this particular situation we're in now. We'll always want more than what we can get. Why? Why? Because we're not the body. We can only satisfy the body to some degree. We can only eat so much. We can only do so much with the body, and then it becomes, we can't do any more. But we still have got unlimited desires. So this verse is explaining that, we're not the body. The body is like a machine, a very complex machine. And, it's governed by higher laws, and, we've got a motor car outside, and if put oil in it, we have to do so many things, but it's fairly basic. But this body is different. Is that right? It's much more complicated, but still it's a machine. But what's making the machine work? I remember our founder at Shardia, who was talking to one person. It's not an easy subject to understand this, so don't worry if you find it a bit difficult. He was speaking to one interviewer, and he'd come from the local radio station or television station. And so they started talking about this philosophy, and he said, look, he started talking about the car. Which is important, the car or the driver? And he thought for a while, says, the car. And so Powerwell said, no, concentrate. Which is important, the car or the driver? And he thought, well, he said, the car. And Powerwell said, just concentrate a little bit more. He kept encouraging. He says, the driver is working the car's a machine. Now, which is the most important? The driver or the car? I said, the car. And so Prabhupada said, give him some prashadam. Give him some aturi, So it's not an easy subject matter. When Mukunda Maharaj, he's a very advanced devotee now in this movement. But when he was in the 1966 in New York, the age of the flower power, and he was one of them. He was one of the hippies. and he went to hear Prabhupada's first lecture. When he was listening to Prabhupada's lecture, he was thinking, this is heavy stuff, we're not the body. But it is possible to actually understand it in due course. First of all, theoretically, and then by practice. So, the first obstacle in making spiritual advancement is to understand this point. Unless we understand our real nature, it's difficult to go forward. Whatever we think with this external shell, then we just relate to everything in relation to it, in relationship to that. And when we start to see on the spiritual platform our real nature, then we start to develop spiritual relationship. So, in the 2 verses before this one, it talks about knowledge in the mode of ignorance. Ignorance means, we don't really know much. Because knowledge in the mode of ignorance is the standard for this world. Most people are thinking that, what's God in this world? What's God in this world? What do people worship?
Money.
Money. Are you sure?
Beauty.
Beauty.
Google.
Google is getting close.
Famous people.
Famous people.
Pop stars.
Yeah, in this verse it says, the previous one it says money. People are after. Oh no, it says in the 18th chapter, sorry. People think God is money. Oh, what's even greater than money? The, what do you call it now? It's on the edge of town, near the motorway.
Metro Centre.
The Metro Centre, that's it. Where was the Metro? You go to the Metro Centre, you get anything. It's a wish-fulfilling tree. So, people, this has become gone. The churches are empty and the Metro Centre is full. So, it's just telling us a story that people are looking for enjoyment. And, at one time they were looking for it that, the Supreme Lord can fulfill it, go to the church. Now, due to some twist in society, some, philosophical, some change in the philosophy, now people are thinking there is no God. So therefore, the world's our oysters. Let's get what we want materially. So this is called knowledge in the mode of ignorance. We're just interested in filling our belly and what else? Having sex at night or whatever, and just satisfying bodily needs. And then the next verse explains about knowledge in the mode of passion. What's knowledge in the mode of passion? Knowledge in the mode of passion means we see differences with everybody. We see that this is a woman, this is a man, this is we actually recognise not just that, but that there's a different living entity, that this is a living entity. This is actually the same as me, but it's an animal. It's just got a little different makeup of chemical combination, and that's all there is. Yeah, we start to see differences. Does anybody see on that platform? The dog is actually the same as me. It's just a different chemical combination. And then above that is the platform we're trying to reach now. This is called the mode of goodness. And we see that within every body is the spirit soul. And the body is alive as long as that soul is within the body. When the soul leaves the body, then the external dress is inanimate. Just like when the person comes away from the car is no longer useful. We can see that at death. People will say, she's gone, or he's gone. And you may say, well, what are you talking about? They're still there, look. But you know, no, she's gone. So this is talking about something else. What is it that's gone? It's the life force. And in medical sciences, the life force is coming from the region of the heart. The oxygen fusing in the body from the lungs and it goes into the blood is actually in the region of the heart. So medical science has actually understood that this is happening according to medical science. They agree that it's in the region of the heart. And also Bhagavad Gita says that it's coming from the soul within the heart. And when the soul leaves, then the body becomes inanimate. So it's very difficult to actually practice this, to remember this point when we're performing our daily activities. But we can understand it to some degree. There was one great Brahmin, they called him the Avadut Brahmin, and he was taking information. He had 26 teachers, and they were all in nature. There was the earth, the ocean, the moon, the sky, the air, fire. So he learned something from each one of them which helped him to become self-realized. And one particular one which is very relevant to this particular passage is the sky. Sky is sometimes called ether. It's ethereal. So it says that just like there's all different planetary systems and the wind's blowing in the sky, but they're not the sky. So the clouds are in the sky, the planets are in the sky, yeah? But are they connected to the sky? Is there any connection between the sky and what's in the sky? There's no connection, is there? Does everybody agree with that? So it says similarly, the soul is in this body just like the planets are in the sky. It's not connected to the body. It's subtly connected. What's that subtle connection? The consciousness, our mind, when it's focused on trying to satisfy this body, we become convinced with the body. When the mind becomes trained to see on the platform of the soul and its spiritual relationship with the Supreme, then we're situated in spiritual life. I can give you an example. Shall I give you an example? A story. A story, yeah. You've probably heard this before, some of you, but it's very pertinent to this particular point. I once went to, before I joined the movement, before I joined the Hare Krishna movement, I went on my holidays, and where did they go for holidays around here? Whitley Bay. Whitley Bay. Sometimes Scarborough, Whitley, all these exotic resorts. And this particular year I went to Blackpool. Blackpool, and we stayed in this boarding house. And I noticed this old gentleman, it was about 1973, something like that. Every morning he'd jauntily start walking out, and he'd go walking on the seafront. It was on the North Pier. And he'd walk 1 mile all the way down to the South Pier, and 1 mile back before breakfast. I said, wow, he's really together, really fit. And so one day, one day I actually got a chance to speak to him, started talking. I said, why do you, do this austerity of walking a mile down there and a mile back every morning? Is it for your health? He said, yeah, that's part of it. I said, there's more to it than that. I said, what is it? He said, well, I used to be a sergeant in the First World War. And, my particular service, my duty, was to take a small group of soldiers behind enemy lines. What do they call it? Reconnaissance. You go and spy on the position of the opposite soldiers. And it's very dangerous. This is on one such raid, or one such foyer, what they call it. He was 3 miles behind enemy lines, and they were locking us out, and then all of a sudden they realised they'd been spotted. If you're 3 miles behind enemy lines and they spot you, what would you do? Run. Yeah? You just turn on and you start legging it. And so they were running, in the distance with the enemy following them. And they came to this 5-bar gate. And, they were like, some of them jumped over, this one cleared it without touching. And they all jumped over this gate. And the sergeant got on. And then he looked back, and he saw that one of his men, he was a young, only 20-year-old, he like froze out of fear. And, the enemy were coming, so he thought, what to do? So he quickly ran back, and he got hold of him, and he threw him over the gate. And then the ghost started running. By this time, they'd come a bit nearer the enemy. And so, he was running, and out of the corner of his eye, he saw one of the enemy throw one of these lollipops, one of these bombs on a stick. And he just carried on running. He didn't really stop to see what was going to happen. And all of a sudden he heard this big bang behind him. And then he just carried on. You know, he was in samadhi. You heard the word samadhi, it was fixed. Samadhi in Sanskrit means that there's nothing else on your mind but one particular thing. And so his only thing was on his mind, I've got to get back to my, the other side of my own mind. And so many things were going off, but he was running and running and running, and he knew what he had to do, and all the soldiers were the same, they were completely fixed on the goal. And then, after about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, after about half an hour, they managed to get back. And then, what happens then? You're safe, the consciousness is not so fixed. And so his consciousness came back into the body. He started, and then he realised there was something wet on his leg. And he looked down, bottom half of his leg had been blown away, half of his calf. And there was blood everywhere, so they took him into the operating theatre. And he never felt any pain. Why? Eh?
When the adrenaline pumps like that, you don't feel pain.
Yes, he wasn't conscious of his body. He was conscious of something else. So this is a practical example how, we're not connected to this body. We're connected to the body by our absorption in it, by our consciousness, that's all. So Krishna consciousness, this is the process we're following. Become conscious of Krishna, of God. Develop an attitude of always serving Him in every situation. And we overcome the bodily difficulties. Ultimately, we have to leave this body. And it's described in the Shastra that this is not a comfortable situation. There's two things that are not comfortable in this world. One is birth. You never hear a baby laughing when he first born. Birth is very difficult to say. In the womb, it's like very tight, there's no air, the baby's conscious, and there's different living entities biting him. And if the mother eats the wrong type of food, that's also burning him. And he can't do anything for, 9 months, or at least for some of that time. And then he's forced out through a small passage, excruciating pain, and then relief, so first breath. And the other one is death. Death is when all the body becomes completely racked with pain. There's so much pain that we have to leave it, it's intolerable. So these two conditions are not very satisfactory. So by learning how to concentrate the mind on devotion to Krishna, then it says even we don't feel the pangs of that situation. Just like a caterpillar. Has anybody seen a caterpillar? Yeah, what does it do? It crawls along, then when it comes to an end, it comes to the end of the leaf, then it'll sort of reach out onto the next leaf, and then it'll pull itself onto the next one. So that's how we change bodies. Dehino asmin yatade, komaram yoganam jala. As anybody's soul continually passes in this body, from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. We're witnessing changes in body, aren't we? We look at a photo when we were 10 years old. Do we look the same now? We're not the same person. The body's changed. Do we feel the same person? We are the same person, maybe a few aches and pains. But we're the same person. Yes, that was me. So what's not changed? That's the body. That's the soul which is witnessing different bodies in this lifetime. And so it's explained that when the body is worn out, the soul also is transported to another body. So this is the process of transmigration or reincarnation. We're constantly travelling from one body to another, to another, to another. And Scripture says that what takes us to that body is our consciousness at the time when we leave that body. It said that even by material science, that when you're actually having a near-death experience, all your life flashes before you. Have you heard that? Yeah? And it's true. The most prominent thing in his life at that time, that will be the next destination. I remember I was at work and a frightening experience. You know, the van driver didn't come and they asked me to drive the van. So I was driving the van. It was about just the beginning of November. And I'm driving the van along and I didn't hear the weather forecast for that night. It was the first frost of the season. So I wasn't driving fast and I went down this bend and all of a sudden the van started going over to the side of the road. So what do? You drive, you go the other way and or you turn into it, so and then you turn the other way, don't you? Drive it, any drivers here? Then you turn into it and then you turn the other way. And so I went over this way and I was about to hit the curb and then I got enough lock on to bring it back and I went this way and I nearly hit the curb. So I got another lock and I went this out, going down the road like this. And it's a good job there's nothing coming the other way for about 3 or 4 times and all of a sudden I oversteered and it came back the other way and went boom, over the curb of course, and down this, 20-foot steep bank and I thought this is it. And there were things flashing through my mind. What do you think flashed through my mind?
Family?
The mother-in-law. Oh my God. So we have to be careful. So I say Krishna. We'll ask questions in 2 minutes. Is that okay? So yeah, Krishna consciousness means to control the mind and focus it on Krishna. By focusing the mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then what happens is that our thoughts will be of the Supreme Lord at the time of death, and we can go back to that eternal world which is full of knowledge, full of happiness, no suffering, complete satisfaction. And so that's what we're looking for in this world. Because we're not the body, we're the soul. The soul's full of happiness. But we're frustrated because when we try to identify with this body is limited. We cannot experience that happiness we're due to. So basically, this is what this particular verse is saying. So we have to become dearer, sober. Sober doesn't just mean free from alcohol. It means that we're not intoxicated by thinking that we're part of this material world. We're actually understanding our real nature. So we can stop there then if you've got a question.
Yeah, it's just that your experience of driving. I remember these vehicles, rear-wheel drive.
Rear-wheel
drive.
Rear-wheel drive.
Yeah, and that's how you correct the skid, as you said. But the modern vehicles, they all tend to be front-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. So it's very, it's not still. Getting into a skid now is less likely to happen. But yeah, it was. How about that scary experience myself with the rear-wheel drive?
Yeah.
And you've got to keep course correcting. You've got to turn it in, turn it out.
Yeah, padam, yad padam. No, there's danger at every step. Just trying to reassure you. Anyway, there's many stories we can tell. Should we have a question? Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Maharaj. It was a really nice class. I was just thinking that I've read so many times I'm not the body, and I've tried to practice it, and by all good logic I can understand it, but still try and act on that platform of not being the body seems very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So how can we practice not being the body?
Yeah, I mean, we don't change our activities. We carry on with the particular work and the particular life that we have, but we change our focus. If we think, what are we focusing on? We're focusing on, you know, a little bit of immediate pleasure, maybe some pleasure in the future, you know, and therefore we work hard to get what we need to actually enjoy that situation. We're constantly trying to find, you know, we cook a meal for pleasure. We do so many things for pleasure, is that right? It says in the scriptures that we can't avoid it. That's our nature. Our nature is to experience unlimited happiness. But can anybody really say that that's what they're experiencing now? You know, we're experiencing happiness, and then definitely there'll be some distress. Distress, happiness, distress. They call it Bhoga Tyag. So, by the right lifestyle, we keep the same lifestyle, but by a change of consciousness, that, you know, we're naturally eternal, related to God. That's our natural constitutional position. We have some sort of relationship with Him. And it begins with a service relationship. And so if we concentrate on doing what we're doing now, and learning how to let Krishna be the first enjoyer of that situation, then we're acting in our natural constitutional position. And in that position we start to feel that happiness which we didn't feel before. Like, you know, I'm sure devotees over in the kirtan, they experience, you know, something which is not what we usually experience. And that's actually because we are glorifying Krishna, it's a service for Krishna. And therefore we feel elated, it's our natural position. It's described that when we work it on that principle, it's like watering a plant. Now what do you do when you water a plant? You do, you know, you wash all the leaves, yeah, and then you walk away. And the plant's going, give me some water. You know? No, we water the root, and then the plant's satisfied. So material life is like watering the leaves. We're superficially trying to find satisfaction, but we have to water the root of our existence. The root of the tree is where the tree is actually getting its sustenance from. So our root, the root of creation, is Krishna, God. So if we satisfy the root, if we water the root, we serve the root, then we'll find satisfaction. We water the root, all the branches, all the twigs, all the leaves become completely satisfied. We water, you know, we feed the belly. We feed the belly and all the body becomes nourished. All the different parts become nourished. We are parts and parcels of Krishna. If we try to stick it in our ear, you know, will it work? No, it wouldn't work. Oh, it does not. You know, there's a proper place to put the food. There's a proper way to serve Krishna. We have to feed the stomach. So if society develops a consciousness, just like we look back 200 years ago, you know, there was no discotheques, there was none of these things. But people were relatively happy. Why? Because in the centre of their life was the church. The centre of their life was service to the Supreme. So they were satisfied, relatively speaking anyway. So, you know, even if it's not happening in society so much now, as an individual we can learn the art of doing that, and it's as simple as that. This is Krishna consciousness. Just like we get married, our consciousness is satisfying the wife, satisfying the family. We're doing all our work to satisfy them. Or, you know, obviously we have some satisfaction, we go to the pub or do a few things as well, but generally it's all around the same thing. So if we learn to develop our life, our consciousness is to satisfy Krishna, then everybody will be satisfied. We'll be satisfied, the family will be satisfied. So this brings us, as a question was, you know, how do we think we're not the body? Just by doing that, even though we think we're the body, we're not working on the bodily platform. We're actually working on the spiritual platform. And gradually, our consciousness will change and our realizations will become more deeper I'm going to start to appreciate that I'm not the body. I'm Jivera Swarupai Krishna Nichidas. I'm eternal servant of Krishna. So, it's practical. Yeah.
I have two questions. Can I ask both or one allowed?
Ask me one first.
I understand the transmigration of the soul. If in the migration, in the process, and by whatever the reason, whatever the process, they become an animal, a small animal. And the animals, their consciousness is never developed not to that an extent to progress spiritually. So in that particular situation, in the evolutionary process of Darwin, is that has it got a role there?
Has Darwin got any truth in what he's saying?
Yes.
No, Darwin, he went from the Beagle to South America. Well, I don't know why he went to South America to, perform this. There's something special about South America. But, before I joined, I'm not allowed to go to South America. I can do the same thing in Scotland. But he went there, and he found one bone. He went, and it came to this is the bone of a dinosaur. I don't know how he came to that conclusion. It might be the bone of an elephant, And then he went a couple hundred yards away and he found another one. He said, this is his big toe, and this is, his fingers. So that's actually what he did. And everyone was going, wow. They believed him. So it wasn't very scientific what he did. He got a few things from different places and he came up with this philosophy about, evolution. In other words, that the species change, they mutate. We came from monkeys. But we can ask the question, where's the, there's a big difference between a monkey and a human being. Did you say so? You know what I mean?
Which part of the country?
If a monkey came here, would anybody, be... There's a big difference. And so, it's actually not very, it's not very, what they call it, continuous. There's no continuity in what they're saying. But the Bhagavad Gita and the Vedic literatures, they explain that this evolution is not materially. The species are already set. We can see, there's a little ant, there's the cat, and there's a dog, and the tiger, and the elephant, and all kinds of different species. They don't change. But what happens is we can't see that transmigration of the soul through those species. So this is the evolution. We're evolving from a lower body to a higher body. And there's nothing we can do about it in that situation. We're trapped by that particular body because the intelligence is not developed. All we can do is get food and all the basic things in life. And so we're on a road which has got no turn off. But it says when we come to the human form of life, then we come to the crossroads. Now we can make a choice to go a different way. And so that intellect that we have is meant for inquiring about the goal of life. We can inquire about what do we want to do with this human form of life. Do we want to understand our real nature? Do we want to carry on doing what we're doing? Do we want to go back into the lower species? And so that's all the facilities are there. And so, the Shastra telling us, perfect the life. Achieve that goal from which what you were always searching for. A place where you can find continuous happiness. And so we've come to the pinnacle of transmigration. We've come to the pinnacle. But what are people doing? They're doing the most crazy things. And what they do, there'll be a reaction for. There's an equal and opposite reaction by what we do. If you act like a monkey, we can go that way.
It's not clear to me if from the lower species, how it gets to higher species in the animal kingdom, because there is no spiritual input to the lower beings?
No, the soul has a mind. The soul is covered by a gross body. It may be, a hippopotamus or some particular species, and it has a mind, an intelligence, but it's limited to cope with that particular body it has. Okay? But the impetus for going through all these species is generated in the human form of life. In other words, once we leave this human form of life, if we don't make progress, then we create so much karma that we go into the lower species and we burn off all that karma going into different species. There's no choice. And then when we come to the human form again, which may be so long we can't even imagine, that then we're given a chance to make the choice again. We're given a chance to do the activities which are beneficial for us. It's like going... I think everybody's got the message anyway. It's like going and queuing up for a ticket at, Newcastle football ground. They're queuing all the way nearly into the town centre. Yeah? And then you get all the way to the front and you're just about to get your ticket and you go back to the end of the queue again, It's painful, isn't it?
My second question is that okay to ask the second one?
Well, see if anybody else has got one. I'll come back if you've got a second one.
Martin was wondering, coming back to the verse, sorry, I'm just going to get into this verse. I was wondering how it can be sometimes read as, the way you say, where it says about being sober, or sober is not bewildered by such a change of body. I just wonder if that can be read in a very stoic sense of having no emotions. If someone's dead or someone passes away, then there's a sense of, it can be read as, sometimes I found that devotees would stress on, okay, but like in the report it says that, in the context that we're doing, to rejoice for the passing of Bhishma or Dronacharya, but then I wonder, how does this verse imply that we shouldn't feel any sort of emotion in the sense of, say, when those kids or those people who died in the Manchester attack, how does one reconcile this verse or this understanding with, with the emotion that a mother or a father feels or a friend feels?
Yeah. Does everybody understand that question? Everybody hear that? Anyway, I'll just repeat it quickly for those who may not have heard it. What he's saying is that if we know that, it seems like if we come to the platform of knowing we're not the body, that we lose all sense of affection for those around us, that when they die we see them as just, we shouldn't feel anything. Because this is, we know we're not really related to them. And therefore, why should we actually feel any affection? We should be completely aloof or callous to these things, yeah?
Yeah, pretty much. And also, if we take that further, of saying not feeling any, being quite serious, it can be interpreted as Krishna consciousness quite a serious thing. There's a lack of emotion. How does one express the emotions when one, time and again, there's this idea of being sober, being calm and equipoised? Whether in this verse or in the previous or in later verses, where does the sense of expression of emotions come in?
Okay.
And therefore also at death, how does one, if someone died, how does one express?
Yeah, well, Krishna consciousness is not based on emotions. We're emotional by nature. In the spiritual world, there are very deep emotions and deep feelings of happiness, and there's relationships just like there is here. It's not that we give that propensity up, and so even in this world, we become attached to people who we're living with automatically, our relatives. So even if we start to become advanced in spiritual understanding, we start to realise by practical experience that actually I'm eternal. I'm not this body. Still, there'll be some feeling towards people when we lose them. You know, we may even cry, we may be affected. And that's not wrong. But because we have higher understanding, we don't carry on doing that. You know, we can actually understand the situation and we learn to deal with it very quickly. That's the, you know, it's not that we don't have sentiment. That's one part of your question. But on the second part is that, so it's partly answering your second question, that we do have emotions, spiritual emotions. And when we practice this process, then our emotions become more sharper. What's the word? They become more
refined.
Eh?
Refined.
Become more refined and more mature, but more powerful. You know, we start to feel more compassion for people. When somebody dies, we feel compassion for them, but for the right reason. We're not sort of thinking, you know, they've lost this particular gross material body. What's happened to them now? You know, I've lost my sense of enjoyment by reciprocating with that person. That's why people are unhappy, generally. But we're thinking, you know, could that soul achieve perfection? You know, we may feel sorry that he didn't achieve perfection. We feel for people's difficulties. Why are people suffering so much when they don't have to? So, you know, and also the other side to it is that when we practice spiritual life, there are spiritual relationships, and as we practice in the association with other people, we reciprocate those spiritual relationships. It's like a material relationship, but it's on a different platform. We're developing friendship along the guidelines and a lifestyle which is designated in Shastra. Just like, you know, if you want to enjoy a nightclub, there's certain things you can do and certain things you can't do. You know, otherwise if you get kicked out, the bouncers will kick you out, you know, if you go beyond the... Is that right? So it's like, it's the same. When we start practicing spiritual life, there's boundaries by which we practice it. And we learn to conduct our life within those boundaries. But as we start to experience, our senses become more satisfied. Our emotions become more intensified. We find more happiness. But because we're not used to practicing spiritual life, we need that those guidelines in the beginning until we become acclimatized to the naturally functioning in that way. It's just like our relationship with God is just like, is as natural as a person in this world as a relationship to a person of the opposite sex. Man and woman are naturally attracted to one another. We don't have to actually work at it. It's natural. So our natural attraction to God is also there. It becomes spontaneous. The word spontaneous? Spontaneous. We have to work at it at the beginning because we've lost that spontaneity. So yeah, I think is that answered it, or is there something missing?
I think
I'm not able to understand that. If that is so, then Hare Krishna is asking that Arjuna should not be feel sorry for this moment, but there is a relationship there.
Yeah, well, Arjuna, he was put into a situation where he was thinking like an ordinary person. He wasn't actually on a spiritual platform. You know, Krishna purposely covered his real understanding so that he just acted like an ordinary person. He didn't have self-realization. Therefore, he was coming up with all these different arguments. But there's also another level that I said in spiritual life, we don't become callous. You know, he didn't want to. He had a duty to do, and it meant that, you know, those people who taught him, he was affectionate for, they were in the wrong. So his particular duty was to actually fight with them. And he didn't want to fight with them. It's like a civil war. You know, civil war, it's the worst war, they say. If it's a civil war, you have to fight with people who you've known. It's not the enemy, it's people who you know. And so that's what he had to do. And so, you know, he's a kind-hearted soul. It's not easy to understand, but he's very kind-hearted as a devotee. So he didn't want to commit harm. On the lower rungs of religion, there's certain standards we have to follow, like it's more on a moral platform. That one shouldn't argue with one's mother and father. One shouldn't kill one's teacher. One shouldn't, you know, fight with one's teacher or one's martial teacher or one's guru. But on a spiritual platform, it comes to a higher level. But if that particular living entity is acting in such a way as to spoil this process of self-realization, which means living entities in this world won't be able to achieve the goal of life, then it needs to deal with that. It's a kind of violence. Does everybody understand that? Anybody a bit doubtful? Yeah?
Have one doubt. Like each body has one soul inside each body. Now what they do, like cell technology, test tube babies, all those things. How will like soul enter such small things? Because the nature of how the baby is born, the nature has a different path. The new scientists, they have taken they develop a baby within a test tube or in some particular lab. So how will the soul transfer from the natural way to this artificial way? And the same thing happened in Mahabharata, where Gandhari gave birth to a lump of flesh. So
forget about that. That's getting a bit, you know, this is getting a bit complicated. Let's deal with normal. This is not normal transmigration. You know, this is a different thing. We can come back to that later. But the consciousness takes the soul from one body to another. You know, we're generating the next body now by our activities and the way we're thinking. We're already subtly, the body's being made by our mind and intelligence. And when we leave this body, that body's ready for us. And the mind and intelligence and false ego will take us to that situation, will take birth in that particular body. He said it's through the male particle of semen. The soul enters into the semen of a man and it's injected into the ovary where the woman gives it. And then the emulsification of the two secretions form the material body. But that doesn't happen unless the soul's there. When the soul's in that situation, then the body starts to grow. If the soul's not there, it won't grow. Anyway, we can stop there. Kantara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai. His Holiness Dayananda Swami ki
Jai.
So I'd like to thank Maharaj for the class. I'd like to thank all of you for your contributions and your attention. And we're going to end now with some chanting before we serve the feast. So Maharaj, would you like to chant? Yeah. So we'll chant for 20 minutes till 8:15, and then we're going to serve some prasadam. So you can sit down and listen and join in. If you're feeling inspired, you can get up and dance. And if so, we'll make some room. And we'll put all the mantras on the board. You can stay where you are. Everyone doesn't need to. Maybe you can stay sitting where you are.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare